land of promise, a beacon of freedom. Yet for much of its history, this freedom was not shared by all. The Civil War officially ended slavery, but it did not end discrimination. Across the nation, particularly in the South, a system of segregation known as Jim Crow took hold. This system, upheld by law and custom, relegated African Americans to second-class citizenship. They were denied basic rights, subjected to segregation in public spaces, and faced constant threats of violence. Life under Jim Crow was a daily struggle for dignity and equality. The civil rights movement emerged from this struggle. It was a testament to the courage and resilience of a people determined to claim their birthright. This movement, spanning decades, would shake the nation to its core. It would challenge deeply ingrained prejudices and ultimately reshape the social and legal landscape of America. The seeds of the civil rights movement were sown in the aftermath of the Civil War. Reconstruction, a period of hope and promise, saw the ratification of the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments. These amendments abolished slavery, granted citizenship to African Americans, and guaranteed the right to vote for all men, regardless of race. However, this progress was short-lived. As Reconstruction came to an end, so too did the federal government's commitment to protecting the rights of African Americans. Southern states enacted black codes, laws designed to restrict the freedoms of formerly enslaved people. These codes were the precursors to Jim Crow laws, which further codified racial segregation and discrimination. From the late 19th century through the mid-20th century, Jim Crow cast a long shadow over the South. It was against this backdrop of systemic racism that the civil rights movement would eventually take shape. World War II proved to be a turning point for African Americans and the fight for equality. Millions of Black Americans served their country with distinction, fighting against fascism abroad while facing discrimination at home. This stark contrast fueled a growing sense of injustice. The war also exposed African Americans to a world beyond Jim Crow. Many served in integrated units in Europe, experiencing firsthand a society less burdened by racial prejudice. This experience, coupled with the sacrifices made during the war, fueled a determination to fight for equality back home.
The post-war era witnessed a surge in activism. Organizations like the NAACP, founded in 1909, intensified their legal challenges to segregation. The stage was set for a movement that would demand nothing less than full citizenship and equal rights for all Americans.
Section 4, The Seeds of Change, Early Legal Battles in the NAACP.
The NAACP played a pivotal role in the early legal battles of the civil rights movement. Founded on the belief that racial discrimination was a moral and legal wrong, the NAACP challenged segregation in the courts. Their legal strategy focused on dismantling the separate but equal doctrine established by the Supreme Court's 1896 Plessy v. Ferguson decision. This doctrine had long been used to justify segregation in all public facilities, including schools, transportation, and even restrooms. The NAACP's legal team knew that to achieve true equality, they had to attack this doctrine at its core.
One of the NAACP's most significant early victories came in 1950 with the case of Sweat v. Painter. The Supreme Court ruled that the University of Texas Law School's segregated facilities for Black students were not equal to those provided for white students. This ruling set a precedent for challenging segregation in other areas of education. The case was a monumental step forward, demonstrating that separate facilities were inherently unequal. It also highlighted the psychological and educational disadvantages imposed on Black students by segregation. The victory in Sweat v. Painter energized the NAACP and its supporters, providing a crucial legal foundation for future battles.
The NAACP's legal team, led by the brilliant Thurgood Marshall, continued to chip away at the foundation of segregation. Their efforts culminated in the landmark Brown v. Board of Education case, which would forever alter the course of American history. In this case, the Supreme Court declared that state laws establishing separate public schools for Black and white students were unconstitutional. This decision overturned the Plessy v. Ferguson ruling and marked a significant victory for the civil rights movement. The Brown v. Board of Education case not only paved the way for integration in schools, but also inspired further actions to end segregation in other public spaces. Thurgood Marshall and his team meticulously prepared for this case, gathering extensive evidence and expert testimonies to demonstrate the detrimental effects of segregation on Black children. Their dedication and strategic approach were instrumental in achieving this historic victory. The NAACP's early legal battles laid the groundwork for the broader civil rights movement, proving that change was possible through persistent and strategic legal action.
Section 5, a bus ride heard around the world. Rosa Parks and the Montgomery Bus Boycott.
On December 1, 1955, a seemingly ordinary woman named Rosa Parks boarded a bus in Montgomery, Alabama. Her refusal to give up her seat to a white passenger sparked a movement that would reverberate throughout the nation. This single act of defiance was not just a spontaneous decision, but a deliberate stand against the systemic racism that permeated every aspect of life in the South. Rosa Parks, a seamstress by profession and a secretary for the NAACP, had long been an advocate for civil rights. Her quiet strength and resolve on that fateful day became a catalyst for change. Parks' act of defiance, rooted in quiet courage, ignited the Montgomery Bus Boycott. This boycott was not just a protest against the bus company, but a stand against the entire system of segregation. It was a bold statement that the black community would no longer accept second-class citizenship. The news of her arrest spread quickly, and the black community in Montgomery rallied together to support her and to fight for their rights.
For 381 days, the black community in Montgomery refused to ride city buses. They organized carpools, walked miles to work, and endured economic hardship to challenge the city's segregated bus system. This was not an easy task. It required immense coordination and sacrifice. People from all walks of life came together, showing solidarity and resilience. Churches and community leaders played a crucial role in organizing and sustaining the boycott. They held mass meetings to keep the community informed and motivated. The boycott was a testament to the power of unity and the strength of the human spirit. The boycott showcased the power of collective action and non-violent resistance. It demonstrated that when people come together for a common cause, they can achieve extraordinary things. The success of the boycott was a significant victory for the civil rights movement and set the stage for future actions. It showed that non-violent protest could be an effective tool for social change. The boycott also highlighted the importance of community and the role of grassroots organizing in the fight for justice.
The Montgomery Bus Boycott also thrust a young minister named Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. into the national spotlight. King's message of nonviolence and his eloquent articulation of the struggle for equality resonated deeply with people across the country. His leadership during the boycott earned him national recognition and set the stage for his future role as a leader of the civil rights movement. King's philosophy of nonviolence was inspired by Mahatma Gandhi and became a cornerstone of the civil rights movement. His speeches and writings during this time laid the foundation for his later work and inspired countless others to join the fight for justice. The boycott marked the beginning of a new era in the fight for civil rights. It was a turning point that showed the power of peaceful protest and the potential for change. The success of the boycott inspired other communities to take similar actions and helped to build momentum for the broader civil rights movement. It was a powerful reminder that ordinary people can make a difference and that the fight for justice is a collective effort. The legacy of the Montgomery Bus Boycott continues to inspire and remind us of the importance of standing up for what is right.
Section 6, Separate but Unequal No More, Brown v. Board of Education.
In 1954, the Supreme Court issued its landmark ruling in the case of Brown v. Board of Education. This unanimous decision declared that racial segregation in public schools was unconstitutional, overturning the separate but equal doctrine that had stood for nearly 6 decades. The case was brought forward by Oliver Brown, whose daughter Linda was denied entry to an all-white school in Topeka, Kansas. This case was a consolidation of 5 different cases, all challenging the constitutionality of racial segregation in public schools.
The Brown v. Board of Education ruling was a watershed moment in the civil rights movement. It struck at the heart of segregation, recognizing that separate educational facilities were inherently unequal. This decision was not just a legal victory, but a moral one, affirming the principle that all children, regardless of race, deserve equal access to quality education. The ruling inspired hope and galvanized activists who had long fought against the injustices of segregation. The decision sent shockwaves throughout the nation, signaling that the legal foundation of Jim Crow was crumbling. Newspapers across the country featured headlines about the ruling, and civil rights leaders hailed it as a significant step forward. However, the ruling also faced significant backlash, particularly in the southern states where segregation was deeply entrenched.
However, the fight to desegregate schools was far from over. Southern states resisted the ruling, often violently. In many areas, local governments and school boards implemented policies to delay or obstruct desegregation. This resistance was met with both legal challenges and grassroots activism, as communities organized to demand compliance with the Supreme Court's decision. The images of federal troops escorting black students to newly integrated schools, such as Central High School in Little Rock, Arkansas, became powerful symbols of the struggle for equality. The bravery of the Little Rock Nine, who faced intense hostility and danger, highlighted the ongoing challenges of implementing desegregation. Their courage and determination underscored the importance of federal intervention in ensuring that the rights of all citizens were protected. The Brown v. Board of Education decision laid the groundwork for future civil rights advancements, serving as a catalyst for further legal and social reforms aimed at achieving true equality.